Fanatic Best of Podcasts are presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app.
B-Pod Studios.
The Mike Missinelli Show.
I saw some Eagle football. It's the new era of Eagle football where you look through the tunnel and you see unicorns dancing and rainbows and everything because it looks like they're going to at least get to 9 wins and get in the playoffs. And who would have thought that? The man that covers the Eagles for NBC Sports Philadelphia. He's on the Comcast Business Hotline. His name is Dave Zangaro. Hello, Dave.
Hey, Mike, if you want to finish the song, I'll go back on hold.
No. This is the whole thing. I'm going to have to do this now every day until Christmas. We're playing that Bruce thing. But listen, tell me, just explain to me here what has happened right before our eyeballs.
Yeah, you mentioned it feels great. And for Eagles fans, it's like they're finally playing the brand of football they want to watch. It's been great, and obviously the competition has helped. They're not facing top quarterbacks defensively, but you give them credit because the top two coaches, Jonathan Gannon and Nick Sirianni, they made changes and they've stuck with those changes. Watching them run the ball down the throats of the number one run defense in the league, I was shocked, Mike. I thought they would try to run. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, if they try to run against this team and they get shut down early, they're going to abandon it, and they're going to go back to their old ways. And they did the opposite. They ran it 50 times against the top-ranked run defense in the league, and they crushed them doing it. I mean, it was really unbelievable. I didn't see that coming.
It's uncanny, really. And a lot's been suggested that it's because this quarterback and his legs, and they're like the defense is so on their heels because they don't know what to do with this guy. That's made everything else go smoothly.
Yeah, it certainly helps. They have to account for him. And it was something that Nick Sirianni said after the game that I found really interesting. He brought up the fact that, yes, like the Saints had the number one run defense in the league, but they hadn't faced a team like us because there aren't a lot of quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts out there. And it's a really good point because what he does for them in the run game, even aside from him actually running the football, which is we all know how dynamic he can be there, but they had to key in on him so much that it's opening up holes everywhere. And then you have the offensive line, playing as good as any offensive line in the league. And it's really all five of them. We see the highlight plays from Mailata, from Lane, from Kelsey, but Dickerson is really settled in there at left guard. And Jack Driscoll, very quietly playing really good at right guard. And he's athletic enough to pull a lot on some of these runs. They've been fun to watch. And I keep saying to Mike, you don't think of running teams as fun to watch. This team, when they run and when these offensive linemen get to their second-level blocks, it's a lot of fun to watch. It's a blast.
Yeah, there's a unity there. Those guys have been playing together, and you know better than anybody that the offensive lineman will tell you that they'd much rather run block than pass block because they could just mash people, and that's what it seems like they're doing right here. And I got to be honest, I got to give Howie Roseman some credit with the Dickerson pick because I panned it at the time with the injuries, but it turned out to be a pretty savvy selection.
Yeah, it was risky. It was certainly risky, and I was with you. I don't think I would have made that choice. The risk was, to me, too great at the time because of all the injuries. There's so many every year, and you worried about the cumulative effect of them. And early in the year he wasn't great, but he missed all the training camp, and that showed. Since he's been at left guard, he's been really solid. He seems to be getting better every week, and I think we feel pretty confident they nailed the first-round pick. If they nailed this second-round pick, all of a sudden, they have two really big cornerstones to this team from this last draft. That will be exciting.
All right, listen, the Eagles are not a great team. We all know they're not a great team. But in conjunction now with the teams they have to play for the rest of the year, and maybe there's a team that steps up and stops the run. But these teams are going to be playing – the way the Eagles are playing this consistently and simplistically, is there a team that you can see becomes a trouble spot for them for the rest of the year on their quest to get to a number that gets them in the playoffs?
Yeah, if you had to pick one, it would be Washington, just because they do have a good defensive line. They have some big guys up front that, they might be able to slow your run down without overpacking the box, which is what teams are going to start to do against the Eagles. And then the Eagles will have to they'll have to counteract that, and they will have to throw eventually. But, I guess Washington's the one team, just because of that defensive line, you think they could give them some trouble. But you look at the schedule, Mike, the next 5 games, all winnable. And I'm not saying they're going to win all 5, but that's not out of the realm of possibility. It really isn't. It's all right there for them.
Yeah, there's a
and
pattern
it's crazy
here.
to talk about it, but
there's a pattern here with this defensive coordinator. He seems to really be good against bad quarterbacks, and look who they're going to be facing. The bad quarterbacks, they're like, with help from, they've gotten some help. That Darius Slay's played out of his mind. You have a story on him, and I'll ask you to talk about that a little bit. But I don't see a quarterback that's going to be able to score enough points against this defense.
The Mike Missinelli Show.
We all love a high-scoring NFL game, right? Right. But at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, you'll be a winner once a single point's scored. New customers who bet just $1 on any team to score can win $100 in free bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code FANATIC. That's code FANATIC this week at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply in partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
97.5 The Fanatic.
yeah, they've been very good against. And it's funny, we talked about this after the last good quarterback they faced, that we're never going to get to see him change it up against top quarterbacks. They don't have one on the schedule until the last week of the season, and who knows at that point if Dak will even play in that game. But, he has a knack for really destroying and forcing these bad quarterbacks into mistakes. And it's really the whole team. But, they got after it against Trevor Siemian, and they should be able to do it against Daniel Jones, too. It's almost like the Giants were too bad last night because they fired Jason Garrett, and I don't know if Freddie Kitchens will be any better. I think that team's kind of in a free fall, but it's hard to imagine it'll be any worse.
I hear you. I thought it could be a problem spot after watching that team last night. I just can't imagine it. Now the downside is that Jordan Howard will not play, and Miles Sanders, although he wound up with a lot of yards, still is kind of shaky. So I don't know how this is going to play out. I mean, what do you think now with Howard not there?
Yeah, I mean, it's a loss. It is. He's been playing really well, but at least against the Giants, you got Boston Scott, who destroys them every time he plays them. And, I thought Miles actually ran pretty well. Everyone's going to look at the fumble, and I get it. It was a terrible fumble, and he almost had to, and that can't happen. He has to shore that up. But I actually thought in his first game after missing 3 with an ankle injury, he looked pretty good running the ball. He's a different type of runner, obviously, than Jordan Howard, but he can run between the tackles, and we've seen that at times. So, and honestly, the holes this offensive line is opening up. At times, I think in Miles' career, we've seen him not hit the hole the way he should. I think that's probably a fair criticism. These holes are hitting you in the face because what the guys up front are doing is, I mean, they're creating 5-foot wide holes for the running back to run through, and Miles has the speed to hit them. So I still think they're going to stick with this run-heavy attack, and hopefully they get Jordan Howard back in a week or two.
All right, with that, we have a little thing here we've created called the Hertz meter. In fact, I just created it this very moment. The Hertz meter, it goes up until it hits the jackpot, which is he stays around to be the franchise quarterback. Where does your Hertz meter rise to these days?
My Hertz meter after last month is way up. And I'll be honest, I was skeptical early in the year because a lot of the things we saw from him were the things I was worried about heading into the year. So it was kind of like, it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way. It was like I expected him to struggle in these areas. He was struggling in these areas. But I think what we've seen in the last month is the head coach and quarterback really get on the same page and really start to understand each other. And the play caller has been making it a lot easier on the quarterback, and the quarterback's rewarding him because Hurst is playing really well right now. And I think at a certain point, yes, he's going to have to pass more. You're not going to be able to get away with 24 attempts in every game, but we can't discount what he brings with his legs either. There's something there, Mike, and I'm not ready to say definitively he's the guy, but I am a heck of a lot.
Oh, you're not ready to say that, dog, because I was going to ask you. He stays? Are you ready to say he stays?
Look, there's too much left here to say that, and I get that everyone's riding high right now, and I am too. I feel that. I feel what he's doing, and I've been really impressed by him. I'm getting much closer. Mike.
Okay.
I'm not ready to
all right.
all
No, that's definitely fair because I think that we're kind of in the same boat. But we're getting close to the to the red surprise at the top.
And
of
the thing
meter.
is, you have to remember, it's not just do you stick with Jalen Hurts over quarterback X? It's do you stick with Jalen Hurts knowing that you'll have these other resources to then put in a team that he's quarterback? So it's not even like if you get a mild upgrade, that doesn't do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get a significant upgrade. And it's seeming less and less likely that that's going to be possible.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Dave, always a pleasure. We'll talk to you.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Dave Zangaro.